And when the spring comes and the ice melts, the sand drops, hey, voila, beach. That's what we used to do in Norland. Anyway, we are here now at the most significant part of the city. This is where it took its name from. So I'm going to take you back in time, before the Catswell, back to the original people who founded the city. Where were they from?
Denmark.
Louder.
Denmark.
Correct. And what year?
12.
1219,
Yeah.
800 years ago. King Valdemar II. Who's here as a... my friend, would you please join me on the stage? Every story needs a hero, and one of you two will be the hero of the story. Please join me. Excellent. You, sir, kindly stand here. Precisely there, that would be good. You are precisely the hero. Excellent. These two fine people from this part of the world will help me tell this story. So I present to you King Valdemar II of Denmark. So here we have the king, the brave king, who has been searching for this land. And as the brave king leads his navy around the coastline, he sees the hill poking out above the trees. He sees the wooden ford the locals used to find the Vikings coming past, and he knows this is the place the Pope has called me to. He sees the U-shaped harbour where he can put his ships, and he lands his ships there, takes his army through the forest here, up the hill, and you take the castle by storm. And you raise the Danish flag proudly. Apparently the first time the Danish flag was raised in victory anywhere in the world. A flag that has lasted without changing longer than any flag in history. True story. And was first raised here 800 years ago. So bravo, King. You have won your fine victory. How will you celebrate with your men? A party? And what will you bring to the party? Beer? You can't. Master Justin hasn't arrived yet. A feast? Yeah. Let's have a feast. There's only one problem. There's no Ica. There's no 7-Eleven. There's no shop. How will you find your food, King? Indeed, the king shall go hunting, because there is plenty of fresh food on 4 feet in these forests, and lots of peps in that sense. So, I invite you, King, to mount your finest horse. Please mount your finest horse. That's a pony. Imagine you are jumping on a big horse. Very good. Off the king rides to the forest, looking for the food, with his bow and arrow at the ready. And as he's searching, he's looking and listening. And off to the side of him, he hears a rustle of feet in the corner. He hears feet moving. He sees a movement of a head. He sees a head moving, and he wonders, what is this? Is it perhaps the start of the Estonian counterattack? No. Is it a gust of wind? No. Is it a servant looking for a free meal? Is it the king's wife angry at his long absence? Correct, it is none of these, for it is nothing more than a graceful, beautiful, young female deer. With her delicate horns poking out of her head. With her delicate horns poking out of her... There you go. She pokes her head out of the bush and she looks around and she spots the king. And the king spots the deer.
I can't shoot him.
Well, the king raises his bow and arrow. He takes aim because this is food. And the deer realizes this is certain death. And their eyes lock like lovers at full moon. And then the deer finally realizes that she must flee to save her life. And off she runs. And the king takes chase. The king takes chase. Run after the deer. As the deer comes back around, comes back towards here, the deer comes towards the edge of the very cliff you see behind you, and you can hear the feet dig in as the deer stops at the edge of the cliff. There's stops at the edge of, shall I do this in subtitles? Stops at the edge of the cliff, and you see there's nowhere to go. And the king realizes there's nowhere for the deer to go. And the king lets out an evil laugh. The king lets out a laugh which is slightly more menacing than that. Sorry. More menacing. Brilliant. The deer, hearing this laugh, knows that there are just two choices in its life. Choice one, stay and die at the king's hand. Or choice two, take a leap of faith into the forest below and perhaps escape with your life. My dearest dear, which choice would you choose? She takes the leap of faith as she sails gracefully through the sky like Superman with small horns. And I wish I could give you a happy ending to the story, my friends, but unfortunately I cannot. The deer does not survive its leap of faith, and it perishes at the floor of the forest below. Don't lie down, it's okay. The king gets off his horse, walks towards the edge of the cliff, and looks down at this deer, mightily impressed. There you go. Mightily impressed at this act of bravery, this act of courage, this act of defiance, that even the wildlife in these parts resists him. And he decides it is time to name this place after this very event. The king takes two old Danish words, re, meaning deer, and val, meaning fall. This place is no more, my friends, than the fall of the deer.
Oh.
Bravo, dear. The true hero of our story, my friends. The true hero. So this is how Reval came to take its name. And it remained Reval for the next 700 years. But you've come to Tallinn, so maybe you're wondering, where does Tallinn come from? Well, I will tell you this, my friends. At the end of the First World War, when the Estonians finally pushed the last of the German army away and formed the first independent free republic, the Estonians no longer wanted to be known by the name given it to it by invading Danish king. They went back to the name that the locals who lived here gave it. And when the Danish arrived, speaking their funny language, hooty-gooty, and when the Germans came along, speaking their equally funny language, sounding a little bit similar, ja, hooty-gooty, the locals called this the place of the Danish speakers. And in Estonian, place or town is Linn, and Danish speakers is Tani. So in 1919, they put these two words together and you get Tallinn. So Reval is 800 years old, Tallinn is 100 years old. But the reason why this place was chosen was not just because of the hill, the fort at the top of the hill, but also because of a fortunate coincidence in geography. The coastline runs west-east directly. There's a body of water called the Strait of Finland, which goes all the way towards St. Petersburg. And just outside Reval were two rivers that the Vikings understood you could send boats down with goods on them. And these boats could go all the way through the rivers to Russia, to the Black Sea, cross the Black Sea to Istanbul, or Constantinople as it was called then. And there you could trade with people coming from the east with their fine garments and silks and cloths, and from India all the rich spices. And the Vikings would trade their goods and bring everything back up the rivers and into the sea here. This was the shortest route to the east, my friends. This was hundreds of years before Columbus. All eyes turned this way. This was the center of the trade world. And the Hansa merchants knew how to take advantage of this. And under the terms of the Lubeck Treaty, they took the right to charge ships a fee or a toll to pass west and east. And if you didn't want to pay, you could come into the harbour and do business here instead. So at the end of this very street behind us, once the Hansa merchants had established themselves with the permission of the Danish king, they built the old town of Reval at the end of this street around the port, and they become very wealthy very quickly. Now I'm going to take you to where the merchants first built their houses. We're going to show you the outside of one of the houses and describe how they live. But that will be the longest walk of our tour, my friend, between stops. And you might feel a little bit uncomfortable with the silence. If you are, ask me any question you want, or better still, look to your left look to your right, and talk to the people around you. Find out where you've come from. How are you here? How old are you? How did you hear about the tour? Is this guy doing all right so far? Can you understand me? Brilliant. As a reward for your efforts, at the end of this street, which is the widest street in Reval, and therefore it's called Wide Street, there's a gift. The tallest building in the world. Should be a bigger response for that. Do you think, Master Justin? The tallest building in the world.
Ooh.
Exactly. Now, I invite you to take the stairs. Do not take a leap of faith. I do not have the insurance.